Good morning, Stampers. It's Elizabeth from stampscrapandmore.com, and thank you for joining me today on the YouTube channel. If you haven't done so yet, please hit the subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. And this is the third card in the Timeless Tropical series. This is the final card for the Avid Crafter. I hope you enjoy and are inspired. Let's get over and start creating. So we are going to be using the Timeless Tropical stamp set and the Timeless Tropical dies. And we're also going to be using the Stitched So Sweetly dies. Look at these are everywhere. The Stitched So Sweetly dies are the ones we're going to be using are the really small one, this one here, and then the middle one. We're going to be using those two dies. From the actual coordinating dies for the stamp set, we're going to be using the little flower, the big flower, and the leaf. Stamp set, we're going to be using the big flower, the little flower, hello, and may your birthday be memorable. This stamp set and this die is carrying over into the new annual catalog. The trinkets and the designer series paper are not, and of course that's in the new annual catalog as well. Okay, if you've got your pen and paper handy, I'm going to give you some measurements and a little bit of background on this card. So this was the card, my original intent for the card. This is how my mind works, right? When I was done, I went, oh, I don't know if I like the palm tree. So I ripped the palm tree off and I did this card. And then of course you can see where I've ripped it, right? So in the class, we actually made this card. And when I was done, I told everyone, okay, so this was my original intent. But then after making this card, I thought, oh, what about this one? Which do you like better? And and the other thing that's different is this designer series paper I thought was too wide. So I narrowed it down. And they said they liked this card better with the leaves and the narrow paper. So the card we are going to make today is a hybrid of both. We're going to be using the narrow paper with the leaves. And this is how cards come, this is how your mind works, right? Like you'll put something together and it's like if it doesn't work, switch it up a little bit and make it work so that it's pleasing to your eye. Okay, so we're going to be using smoky slate cardstock. That's 4.5 by 11, and it's folded in 5.5. No, sorry, 4.25 by 11. Fold it in half. We're going to be using a piece of smoky slate for the first layer. That's 4 by 5.25. Inside is Whisper White, 4 by 5.25. Piece of designer series paper. Now remember, this is retiring. That's 4 by 2. And we're going to need vellum, and you're going to die cut the flowers out in the vellum cardstock. You're going to cut out one of the scalloped edges from the middle Stitch So Sweetly dies. I always cut out extra. From basic black, you're going to cut out the small scallop. You're going to cut out in Pear Pizzazz 3 of the leaves. You're going to need white embossing powder, black memento ink, and Versamark ink, your heat gun, and embellishments, adhesives, etc. So let's get crafting. We are going to start with, and this is not a necessary layer, but it's just how I like to make my cards. If you want to, you can build everything right on the card front. If you do that, you'll need to adjust the size of this designer series paper if you want it to go edge to edge. I always like to build on a piece of cardstock that will layer on top. That's how I like to create and make my cards. I know not everybody does that though. I'm going to take the designer series paper and I'm going to adhere it, and I eyeball it towards the middle. I'm going to find a grid line. I say this all the time. I'm going to put it on the left and take it, make sure it matches over on the right, and it's going to be flush left and right. Oh, And make sure the image is going in the right direction, because I made the card once and it wasn't going the right direction. But it was easy because I just had to flip it over. But and then while I'm got this here, I'm going to stamp this, and may your birthday be memorable in black memento. There we go. I'm going to put that aside. And what else? Oh, we can get into embossing. Okay. I'm going to start with the hello. And I'm taking my embossing buddy because it's on black, and I'm just going to run this over the black, and it just takes off oils, fibers, and static. But in case you're not aware, Stampin' Up! Has retired that. So I do believe you can get it at a big box store if you don't have one. And now hello and the Versamark. I'm going to stamp this, and I'm not standing up, so I'm hoping it's straight. Like that. And my embossing powder. I got up early this morning and started crafting before going to work, so I'm feeling really good this morning. I'm not quite sure. After yesterday, oh my God, such a headache and watery eyes. I thought it was allergies. But then I've never suffered allergies like that before. I couldn't see, like my eyes were stinging. But I had the lawn guy come this week, and they put a chemical down in the lawn, so I'm wondering if that's what it was. That anyhow. And I did sit outside in the backyard and had lunch afterwards, so that's probably what it was. So now I'm going to heat emboss. And you can go from the back and then warm it up from the back. And then you'll be able to see the hello, you'll be able to see it start to solidify. There we go. And melt. And there's your hello. Okay, it's not straight, but that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Now what do we want to do first? Let's do the leaves first. Okay. Okay, so I have die cut the leaves out, and I've shown this technique many times. And I'm going to show it again because I use this a lot. And this is really a great technique, especially if you're doing mass production of stamping. So I am going to take my leaf template and just make sure it's, because the leaf is not symmetrical all the way around, so make sure the template isn't going the right way up. Okay. And there we go. And I'm going to take the leaf stamp and I'm going to nest this into that space there. And you can kind of feel it plop into space, into the negative space. I'm going to pick it up, and now I'm going to ink it up. The first card I did, I used Old Olive, and now I'm going to use Pear Pizzazz. I think the Old Olive might have been just too harsh, so it's going to be Pear Pizzazz on Pear Pizzazz. And I'm going to stamp this right into the negative space. And I do that. Now you'll see I didn't line it up perfect, so I'm going to take this opportunity to move the template around a bit so that I have even space all the way around. And I'm going to put the magnets back on, and now I'm going to drop the leaf in there, and I'm going to stamp. And there we go. Maybe the Old Olive was better. I do have a lot of the Old Olive already cut out and stamped, so I'm going to stamp these in here. Where are the other leaves? I'm talking to myself. Oh, there they are. So what do you guys think? So there it is in Pear Pizzazz. This is, and here it is in Old Olive. What do you think? What do you think? I think I like Old Olive better. So I'm going to switch it. It's now going to be Old Olive. That was my original idea, and then I thought, oh no, the Old Olive is too dark, but I'm going to use Old Olive. I like it better. Now, I want to get back into why I stamped in this space here. As you're stamping, your template can get out of alignment, especially if you're doing a lot of things. So if you stamp the image in the middle, if you stamp the image in the middle, if the template gets out of alignment, you can then be able to move it back into alignment without having to reposition everything. So say if it got out of alignment like that, just by regular movement, if you're doing a lot, you can just move it back into alignment and everything will be set up. So that's why I like to stamp into that negative space. And now I'm going to get out the other Stamparatus. Yes, I have 2 Stamparatus. It's great for classes if you have multiples, so keeps everybody busy. Okay, now we're going to do a similar thing. I have die cut the 2 flowers out, and I'm going to lay it onto my grid paper. In this case, I am not going to be too concerned about pre-stamping to make sure that I've got it in the right alignment. We're using Versamark. I'm going to be pretty close. Versamark is really hard to see, as you know, when you, especially on vellum. I'm trying to get the right. Oh, this might be harder than I thought. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's really hard to see, especially on vellum. So if it's not perfect, I'm not going to stress over it. There we go. Now watch it be really wonky out of alignment. But I don't think it's going to be. I'm going to pick those up, and now I'm going to drop in the vellum pieces. There we go, that's one. And, oh, that one was good. Okay, and now we're going to, and I'm not even going to worry about the the embossing buddy on this. I'm just, because it's white on vellum, and it's kind of has that sort of, no flower is identical, perfect in nature, and they're all unique, right? So that's the same concept here. And now I'm going to take my embossing powder again. And let me get this one first. And I do have a pair of crafting scissors, but they're buried somewhere in my craft room. Yes, my craft room needs a cleaning. And now I'm just putting embossing powder on that one. So you can see I've got embossing powder on it. And then on this one, I'm just picking it up with an edge that I know doesn't have any Versamark on it. It's hard to see on camera, but I can see what's not stamped. And then there is the flower. Let me put my embossing powder away. There we go. And get out the heat gun again. I'll start with the little flower. And don't burn your fingers. And now again, heat up from the back, and then heat up from the front. You can see it start to melt, and try not to, here you can see it starting to melt now. Keep moving the heat gun. Ooh, it's hot on your fingers. Ooh. This is why I have crafting tweezers. Okay. See, this flower is not perfect, and I was out of alignment, but that's okay. You'll see how I was out of alignment a little bit, but that's okay. And now I'm picking this one up. And you can see it start to melt right away. Obviously, the longer you use your heat gun, the faster it heats up and the faster it melts the powder. So that's the big flower and the smaller flower. And let's put this all away. Okay, and now I think we can start assembling the card. Okay, we're going to add this designer, the card front to the card. Making sure that the flamingos are going the right way. And it's even space all the way around. Okay, this is where I have to give it some thought. So now we're going to put this with dimensionals, and I'm going to put 3 in the middle because I'm going to be tucking the flowers in, and I don't want to have issues tucking stuff in. So I'm going to put 3 down the center like that. And you know me, I always go overboard with dimensionals. And I'm going to stick that like this. What I forgot to do, I'm going to take the 2 flowers, I'm going to flip them over, and on the back side I'm going to take the dark Pool Party, and I'm just going to color them in. And this is not no rocket science here, folks. I'm just coloring them in. And then I'm going to show you something, and I thought this was really neat. Okay, so when you look at this flower, you think, oh, it doesn't even look like it's been colored in. But once you layer it on top of the white, you can see the hint of blue pop in. So you've got sort of that variegated look of it. I just love it. I get excited by this stuff. Now, here's the hello. So the hello is going to go there. So this flower, I am going to put kind of right up here. So I'm going to use some Tombow glue, which I left unopened all week on my desk. Oh, look at that. It didn't get clogged, which was a surprise. And I'm going to put the flower kind of up there like that. Okay. And then this is going to go like that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to bring the flower over just a little bit like that, because this is going to go like that. And now this flower, I'm going to pop it up, and it's going to go over like that. Ooh, I like. See how the blue, it picks it up when it's underneath the white. I really like that look. It just looks really, I don't know, artistic. And now this, I want to make sure I have enough room for the hello, like that. So I'm going to put this flower right there like that. Okay, and the hello, it's going to get popped up on one side. Did I pop it up on both sides? Did I pop it up on both sides? I think. I'm trying to think how I made this. Did I pop it up on both sides? Yes, I did. So both sides, dimensionals. I know you guys are going to think I like cards that have layers to them. Not all my cards are mailable. I'll be honest. Okay, like that. Now the leaves. I'm going to take my bone folder and just kind of break the fibers up just oh so slightly. 1, 2, and 3. And one's going to get put there, and this one is going to get put under the flower like that, and then this one, what do you think? Under here like that. See, this is why I'm not 100% sure on the leaves, folks. I gotta be honest. So this one I'm going to put flush down there. So that one I'm going to put a little bit of Tombow so that I can have wiggle room. And I'm going to stick it under here like that so that it's just peeking out. And make sure that dries. This one, you have to play with it to see how it suits your eye. Yeah, that one's like that. Okay, again, this time I'm putting Tombow glue under here, both sides, because it's going to be in between the flower and the white, the flower and the base here. And I'm going to put like that. Oh yeah, no, now I'm liking. And then this one, whoops, upside down. Oh, maybe I'm going to do the same thing. Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. So I didn't put any of them under, just this one went under the white. So this one I'm going to put between the flower and the white base. Like, and kind of squeeze it in there. And if you need to, which I'm going to do now, I'm just going to cut this off. And that way it'll sit better. There we go. So that's it. Now the last thing is, I'm taking my, and you don't have to do this, my bronze stamp and blend, and I'm going to color in 3 gems. And the reason why I'm taking bronze is because we're also going to put an element on here like that. And so I'm going to color in 3 of the gems, the large one and 2 of the smaller ones. This is an old pack of gems. And I'm going to put one in the center. You know, you could also use the champagne rhinestones. It has a similar look to it. Okay, and then, oh, this one will go up there like that. And then last but not least, we're going to put one of the trinkets on. I keep calling them gems. But before doing that, I realized, so on this hello, you need to make sure that there is a dimensional right under here on the corner, because we're putting a gem, a trinket there. You want it to have, you don't want it to sag with the weight of the trinket. So I just have part of a dimensional that I am going to tuck underneath like that. Whoops, come on. There we go. There we go. I'm going to tuck, so right on that corner I have a gem. And you know what I'm going to put on this one? I'm going to put the hibiscus. On this one we use the leaf, but I'm going to use the hibiscus. I'm not going to use the ukulele. I've used, I think the hibiscus works better. So I'm taking the fine tip glue, and on the back of the hibiscus, this one, it has dimension on both sides. So just make sure you get enough of the glue in there. Like it has a dip, a hollow. So make sure you get enough of the fine tip glue to fill that hollow so that it adheres and sits properly. And again, I'm going to show you my fine tip glue trick. Finger underneath, pin, guide it with your finger, and then push it in. All right, so that is the card. Oh, now I just have to do the center. So yeah, no, I like the leaves. So that was the yeah, leaves I like better. So everyone was right when they voted. And here is May Your Birthday Be Memorable, and this is going to go on the inside. And I don't know if that trinket has cured. It hasn't. I just heard it fall. I'm impatient, can you tell? And put this in, and now let me put the trinket back on. Put a little bit more of the glue. I didn't let it cure right. And a little bit more glue in the hollow. And push it down. You could also, I've said this before, you could also use a glue dot. You might, because these are heavy, you might need multiple glue dots. I'm not going to pick this up again in case until it cures. So that is me. That's me, and that's the last card in the Timeless Tropical series. Again, this stamp set and the dies are continuing. The designer series paper isn't, but really, folks, you can use so many things, so many different designer series papers with this type of card. So you don't have to stick with the what was in the package. All right, so I'm off to work now, and have a great weekend, and maybe we'll talk to you again soon. Take care.